Hey everyone, what is good? Welcome back to the channel. This is Silver Hyena, and what I've got going for today's video is a mix of assorted alcohol-based markers and a human. Yes, I drew another human. A person. I think I'm getting more confident with drawing people. This time, it's an original character of mine. My sweet-natured sidekick, Blake McCormick. I know, you've probably gotten used to me doing all these fan arts of people. Well, now I'm doing one of my very own. Now, one of the main reasons I found myself really wanting to draw this character is because she has heterochromia. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. If I butchered it, I am sorry. Alright, to put it in terms that everybody here can understand, it's a condition where your eyes are two separate colors. I've always found that condition to be very fascinating, and it just looks cool in my opinion. A lot of huskies and malamutes have the condition as well. Also, some cats have it too. And yes, it is possible for humans to have this unusual condition. It's just been one of those fascinating, interesting things that, while not always on the forefront of my mind, it's there. Kind of like cryptozoology. It's interesting, but I don't obsess over it. I'm beginning to obsess over it, so let's move on. Another thing that's always interested me and fascinated me ever since I learned about it from Pokemon, actually. Yep, that's where I discovered it, was from Pokemon. And that is psychic abilities. Telepathy, telekinesis, ESP, communication with spirits, all of that. Regardless of whether or not it's a real thing, please don't turn the comments into a war zone. We're all free to believe in what we choose to believe in. I've always thought that the concept of psychic abilities is absolutely incredible. Is it wrong that I'm a little jealous of a fictional character that I created? Ever since I learned what psychic powers were, it's something that I've always wanted. Of course, since I don't live in a comic book universe, that's not gonna happen anytime soon. Nor do I think I'm ever actually going to get a dragon either. But I can dream, can't I? I guess that's why we create our own characters, so we can at least explore these concepts. Now, since my girl Blake is such a gentle soul, I decided that telepathy was better suited to her. She hears the thoughts of those around her and can project her own. Blake also has a talent for suggestions. She can be very persuasive. However, despite this, she doesn't really have an aptitude for outright lying to anyone. She's a terrible liar. Her other major ability is controlling animals. Even wild animals or those trained and loyal to another master will obey her commands. One of these days I'd like to do a drawing of her with her dogs. German Shepherds and Corgis, two of my absolute favorite breeds. In all honesty, I don't even know where all of these ideas come from. They just come to me, they just come to me. Does anything like that ever happen to you? You get the idea in your head and it just spawns into something more than you ever thought, and boom, you've got a new imaginary friend. And that's what I like to think our original characters are. Our imaginary friends. And I don't care what anybody else says, you're never too old to have imaginary friends. When you think about it, a whole bunch of other people, a lot of authors, the people who create these movies that we see, the comic books, all of it. When you really think about it, every single one of these characters that has made themselves a mainstream name of some sort or another, they started off as somebody else's imaginary friend, essentially. I mean, you've got the entirety of the Marvel universe, the entirety of the DC universe. There's just too many for me to list right here, but when it all comes down to it, somebody had to dream these things up. And on a bit of a side note, writer's block is what happens when your imaginary friends stop talking to you. Alright, as you might have noticed by now, since I've been musing on and on and on, I've been using a mixture of Ohuhu Brush Markers, the Azure Forest Markers, and those markers from Five Below. And to add something extra, I decided to bring out the colored pencils. Although this might be a good time to bring up that I noticed my Prismacolor colored pencils were a bit on the waxy side, waxier than usual. Now, I've used Prismacolor colored pencils with alcohol-based markers many times before. However, I don't recall using this exact combination on Canson XL Media paper. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy this paper. But that was something I just noticed. However, I've never had this sort of waxy issue with Bristol or marker paper. So, Canson XL, I still love you, but you done and failed me this time. A little bit. Not like a major failure, just the tiniest, tiny bit of a failure. So, it doesn't destroy my liking for this paper, but it's just like one of those minor things that it just bugs you a little bit, you know? As for the wide assortment of markers I decided to use, all of these markers, despite being from different brands, they all get along together very well. Like, they'll intermix with each other. They blend together. It's a lot of fun. That's why I like doing these pieces. Just because I like bringing out a whole bunch of different markers and just going to town. Although, since I've been drawing more humans lately, I'm thinking that it might be time to invest in a set of the skin tones from Ohuhu. Oh yeah. I also want to get that pastel set too. And whatever other sets they might have come out with by now. I have an addiction. Well, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today's video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And with that being said, this is Silver Hyena, signing off. Stay creative, everybody. Bye!